we are conditioned in a society to believe that manifesting what we want has to be difficult. We are conditioned in a society to believe that creating the life that you truly want to be living has to be a struggle. It has to be difficult. But when you raise your frequency, it's the complete opposite. Everything that you want becomes so much easier. There's a lightness to the present moment. There's a flow to the present moment. The universe seems to be working in your favor. Everything seems to be working for you. When you're at a low frequency, it's the complete opposite. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to raise your frequency to attract what you want and attract that thing in a much easier way, an effortless way where you feel light. You feel like you can still take actions, but those actions are aligned with the higher frequency and a feeling of lightness, which brings the manifestation to you in a much easier way. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So the first thing I want to share with you is that we all know that your thoughts create your reality. We all know that. We've all heard that in law of attraction community. We all know that, well, not all of us, but some of us know that even our vibration creates our reality. I've shared that in the past in a lot of my videos. Your vibration creates your reality. Your mood creates your reality. But the one thing that I've never shared with you on this channel before is that your consciousness creates your reality. So everything that comes into being, everything that you see in your life comes from consciousness. And so you literally created this reality. You are the creator of your reality, not you as the ego, but consciousness itself. And the more connected you become to your true nature as consciousness, what happens is that you can manifest in a much easier way. Here's why. When you become more conscious, your frequency is higher. And also you're just more conscious of everything. You become more conscious of how your internal state of being actually gets reflected back to you in the external. And the more conscious that I become personally in my life, I can notice that at very subtle levels, how my mood and emotional state, and it can be so subtle, it can be the difference between one moment I feel like I'm at a lower state of being, and then 5 seconds later I raise my frequency by just taking some breaths, noticing my breath becoming more present, and then I can literally see how people around me act different, how everything starts to work out differently in terms of even how I speak, the way that I communicate, the way that external reality seems to be, my thought process changes. So we can start seeing that as our consciousness increases, we get much closer to creating the reality that we want, because you see that your internal state of being now impacts your external world. So your consciousness creates your reality. And another thing to consider here is that when your consciousness gets higher, when your consciousness gets to a certain point, you have let go of so many negative emotions. So many negative emotions that you used to have won't be burdening you anymore because you're at a higher state of being. So when you let go of all these negative emotions, when you get to a higher state of being, when your consciousness gets higher, you will literally start to manifest things so much easier. Because like I said, at a lower state of being, it's so hard to manifest. And you can actually notice this. You can notice that when you're at a lower state of being, you can literally feel that you feel worse if you're conscious of it, if you notice it. And then from that feeling, you can start to see how everything, and I'm talking like, it's very subtle, but it's also pretty clear when you become conscious of this, how everything begins to kind of work against you when you're at a lower frequency. It can seem like it. It can seem like it's working against you. And it kind of is if you're at a low frequency. If you're super unconscious, if you're at a super low frequency, it can almost seem like reality is working against you. And you're gonna find all reasons to prove to yourself why it is, why everything's working against you, why everything's heavy, why everything's dense. You're gonna get angry. But then you raise your frequency, you become more conscious, you realize, I'm literally creating that. I'm literally creating that. You can start to see that we inflict pain on ourselves with our own minds, and then we lower our own emotional state, and then that manifests our reality. And on the other side of things, when you raise your frequency, you can actually start to see that at a higher state of being, you have more control, so to speak, of what you manifest into your life, because you're not blocked by all the lower level emotions. Now, the paradox is that when you're at a higher frequency, you tend to flow more, you tend to release control more, but at the same time, you become an extremely powerful controller of your reality to some degree. Not by forcing it, but by just letting it flow. It's almost like, have you ever been in a dream before, and then you realize that you're in the dream, and then you start changing everything in that dream? You literally created that dream. You literally created that. So it's like you're in a dream, you realize you're in the dream, and then you start changing things because you realize, oh, wait a second, I actually created this whole story and none of it actually existed. It was just something that I was lost in this dream. And so you wake up and you're like, what was that all about? I created that. But sometimes you can wake up from that even in the dream, and then you start changing things. Reality is kind of similar. Your consciousness literally creates your reality. And so when you become conscious of who you are as consciousness, you can start to change things. You can start to, so to speak, manipulate your emotional state. Of course, not by controlling it, but by observing it and allowing it. It's a huge paradox that you're not going to be able to wrap your mind around this. You just have to become conscious of it. But you're literally going to be able to create your reality in a much more powerful way when you realize that your consciousness creates your reality. The dream analogy is huge. Now, the second thing to understand is that your external world will be completely different depending on your vibration. And this is so big to understand. You can literally start to see how everything changes based on your vibration. And this is so subtle because I've shared with videos in the past big stories of mine. If you want to watch a video where I shared a story of how my vibration creates my reality, click the video right over there. But you got to realize that it's not just explicit things. Like you can do certain things that lower your vibration, like big things that lower your vibration. Like for me, it used to be, I used to drink a lot of alcohol on weekends. My vibration would lower. And so I'm not saying that that alcohol lowers your vibration for everybody, but for me personally, it did. And so what happened was, I actually started to realize that that was a big thing that was lowering my overall state. But right now in my life, what I'm realizing is that tiny little things can lower my vibration, that will then change the external world in very small ways. Very small ways. Like sometimes I can notice that my power chakra, my sacral chakra, gets a little bit infiltrated, so to speak, with like external energies, because I'm really sensitive and I can actually attract people's energy super sensitive. Comment down below if you are super sensitive to other people's energies, and you could just literally feel it in your body and you become super conscious of that more and more and more as time goes on. Anyways, when that happens, I can start to see that everything in the external world reflects my state of being lowering even for 5 seconds. Even for 5 seconds. Even if I'm going for a walk in the park and my state of being gets a little bit lower for a second, I start to see that people act different. People around me start to change the way that they talk to me. It's almost like everything in reality, you become like a victim for a second. It's like, well, what was that about? What was that about? Your frequency was lower for just a moment. And so we need to realize we don't need to do anything because manifestation is about wanting and stepping into your true power of creating for fun, because why not? It's about realizing that when you're at a high frequency, the external world works for you. Life starts to take care of you. Literally, life starts to take care of you. Okay, if you have any fears around money, around things not working out, those fears and those lower frequency emotions are what is creating those things that you're afraid of. So when you raise your frequency, those things that you were worried about in the lower frequency wouldn't happen, because you're not going to see the external reflection of those things that you were afraid of at a higher frequency. So the things that you're afraid of at a lower frequency, you are literally creating those things. If you're at a lower frequency, always worried about people messing with you, people invading boundaries, doing certain things to you, of course that's going to manifest into your existence. You're creating that. If you raise your frequency, you think the universe is working in your favor. You have pronoia, as some people call it, where you think that the world is working in your favor. Ralph Smart uses that one a lot. Pronoia, that's a pretty good issue to have in my opinion. The universe literally will manifest things for you. You are the creator of your reality. So start to become conscious of your frequency, how you feel. Now, the third thing I want to share with you is literally what I've noticed in my experience is magic happens at a high frequency. Literal magic. Like literally you'll start to see synchronicities happening way more at a high frequency. You're going to start to realize that people might act different around you at a high frequency. Sometimes it might be people still might have their patterns and might still be angry, but then it somehow flips and it works in your favor because you held integrity in that higher state of being. So sometimes people will still get angry, sometimes people still project lower vibrational emotions onto you, but if you keep your frequency high, things will always end up working in your favor. Always. Even if it temporarily doesn't seem like it's working in your favor and you follow the truth at all costs, it will be in the highest good of your soul, in what it is that your soul wants to see happen. Not what your mind thinks it wants, but what your soul truly wants, which is usually to some degree what your mind wants as well, when you're aligned with who you truly are. Okay? So magic will literally happen at a higher frequency. Literally, literal magic, literal synchronicities, random money coming into your lap, the right people coming to you at the right time, things that you know your ego is not doing. Okay, and this is what brings me to the last thing. When you raise your frequency, you're going to start to not only be more aware of opportunities that you weren't aware of before. Not only are you going to see the external world working in your favor, but you're going to start to notice that people and everything literally starts to like bring you what you want. It's absolutely shocking. Literal magic, literal mystical things happening to you. Like, it's just going to be like the universe bringing you what you want on a silver platter. Now, you're still going to be taking actions, right? Like, I still record videos, I still do what I have to do for my business and all of that, but manifesting what I want has literally been so easy when I learned to raise my frequency. It has been so easy. It has not been hard. The only time, like, recording a video every single day is not hard. It becomes hard if my frequency gets lower. Like this, me talking right now is not hard. This is not hard. Sometimes it does become hard. Sometimes I start to fall into lower vibration. I have to, record the video with more than one take. That happens to me sometimes, not gonna lie. But then I have to get back into that higher frequency state of being where it becomes easy to speak. It becomes easy. Like, my speaking becomes better when I'm at a high frequency. When I'm at a low frequency, I stumble my words. I lack confidence. I can't be who I really am. Then people start to feel that, and then they start to reflect back. You know what I mean? It's like when you're at a low frequency, you stumble your words, you're not confident, then people act weird back to you because you're at a low frequency. And then it's just this never-ending cycle of internal negative vibrations being reflected back to the person. Then it's like it just becomes a loop of negativity. And guess what? You're creating that. You're creating that. If somebody thinks you're weird, you created that. Not always. Sometimes people have their judgments, not gonna lie. Not always your fault, but sometimes you can literally create people judging you. You can create that. It's like you think someone's judging you at a low frequency and then they judge you. Or you think something bad's gonna happen and then it does. At high frequency, these things are far less likely to happen. And if they do, you just won't care because you're at a high frequency anyways, and then something will work out in your favor shortly after. So realize that as you raise your frequency, magic will happen. Magic will happen in your life. Life will start to work for you. You're going to start to see that life takes care of us and life is here to support us. And you are life and you're not separate from life. And everything is working in your favor and all you have to do is raise your frequency. So that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. As always, have yourself a great day and I'll see you in the next video.